Here's a cold, unpalatable truth for you. Sometimes when you're playing a song, you need to be not soloing. Even if you're doing something as informal as a blues jam, chances are there are going to be other people there who are going to want to shoehorn in some kind of self-indulgent nonsense, like singing. So, you need to have a few decent rhythm patterns up your sleeve, and I've got a few vintage era ones for you to check out today. Alright, so for the purposes of this, let's assume we're having a blues jam in the key of E. So our first example is going to be based around the good old E major chord in the open position. If you haven't met this chord before, what's going on here is we're holding down the 3rd string at the 1st fret with the 1st finger, the 4th string at the 2nd fret with the 3rd finger, and the 5th string at the 2nd fret with the middle finger. And we're going to strum all of the strings. And we're going to play a lively sort of a classic Bo Diddley pattern that Buddy Holly fans will probably recognise as well. The whole thing is going to go like this. You might have spotted a cheeky little alteration at the very end there, where we're changing that E chord into an E sus4 chord. And the way we do that is we just add the little finger to the 3rd string at the 2nd fret and then take it off again to go back to a regular E. And we're going to play this in quite a lively sort of a tempo. The strumming pattern there, it's actually kind of easier than it might look if you were to read it on a score. So rather than talk about exactly what's going on with the beat, I'm just going to show it to you in a very simple sort of a down and up sort of a fashion, if you don't mind. And even if you do mind, I'm going to do it anyway, I'm afraid. So we're going down, up, down. And you might have noticed in between that first down and up, there's a kind of a very lightly muted downstroke. And then we're going to go up, down, down. And on that second to last down, that's where we're adding the suspended 4th. And then taking it off again. So really slowly. And a key aspect of doing this successfully is just to kind of keep the wrist moving, keep it really, really loose. Let's get that recorded. This part I don't want to be too dominant. Again, think of the poor singers. So I've not got the volume all the way up on the guitar because I don't want it to really dominate the mix. So I'm just going to turn that down a bit. That'll do nicely. Okay. Okay, part 1 done. Okay, so the second part that we're going to add to that is another very sort of classic era sounding single line, starting with the low E. And we're going to double pick every note here, so pick every note twice using alternate picking. And we're going to work our way up from the open E to the G sharp, the 6th string, 4th fret. Then up to B, 2nd fret on the 5th string, then C sharp, 4th fret on the 5th string, and then move up a single fret to D, 5th fret on the 5th string, and then work our way back down. And what's really nice about this pattern is we're implying the sound of a dominant 7 chord. which our rhythm part there is not actually playing. Remember, we were just playing a regular E major chord. But by including that D note, we're getting this great kind of sweet and sour mix that dominant chords contain. Not a terribly advanced kind of a thing, been around for quite some time now, but very, very effective and fits very nicely with that. Works really well as well if you've got a little bit of a delay, little bit of a slap back kind of a delay. Again, you can hear where the blues meets rock and roll here. Let's see if we can add that to our rhythm track. Now, if you've arrived a little bit late to the jam and that sort of thing's already going on, it might sound like it's a little bit busy and there isn't really any room for you to join in. But actually, that gives you great scope to add something kind of light and textural over the top. Let's look at quite a delicate sort of arpeggio part, the kind of blues playing that found its way into the style of bands like Creedence Clearwater Revival. Let's play an E7 sort of a thing up in the higher register of the neck. So what I'm going to do here is slide up to the G sharp at the 13th fret on the G string, and then reach up behind with the first finger for the E on the 12th fret of the E string, and then pick the G sharp again. And then I'm going to add that dominant minor 7th note, that D, that was in our picking part earlier, at the 15th fret on the B string. And then I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to contrast, again, get a little bit of that sweet and sour effect that's so common in blues with those dominant chords. And I'm going to change from that minor sounding D note to the more major sounding C sharp, which is on the B string at the 14th fret. And again, if you're a fan of effects and you've remembered to bring your tremolo pedal with you, that works really, really nicely. Let's try and add that to the mix then. And there we go, a few old school blues ideas for you for when you're on rhythm duty. Really hope there was some stuff of use to you there. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, and so on. And I'll see you with something else very soon. Cheers.